Hello and welcome to a new jungle video. With his rise in popularity thanks to Riot remembering that he actually exists in their game, Volibear has once again become a staple jungler. Adding a knock-up to his E and giving him scaling movement speed on his Q means his playstyle has changed ever so slightly, but still remains by and large the exact same run-at-your-face bear with whom you can slap monsters with your paws.
I slap those monsters with my paws. Slap those monsters with my paws. Monsters get slapped. Monsters get slapped. I slap those monsters with my paws.
Yes, before I made tutorials, I made random nonsense on this channel. I blame it on the smaller beard. We'll give a quick rundown of Volibear's abilities, items, runes, combos and ganking, and finally a gameplay breakdown of how you can truly 1v9 with the bear. In that game we had a huge lead that was thrown hard, but due to Volibear's fast and decisive kit, you can quickly punish enemies mispositioning and end the game. Let's get right into it and starting off with his passive. This can keep you alive in sticky situations and also buy you time to tank towers or simply disrespect your enemy. Be aware of the healing power it actually possesses, which is 30% of your maximum HP that gets regenerated. This makes health a staple thing for Volibear to stack in his items. Be careful though not to consistently get too low in the jungle, otherwise you risk having your passive go off while simply farming. This is okay depending on the nature of the game and perhaps in earlier clears, but not something you want to have happen consistently. Volibear's Q is one of the abilities that received some buffs and changes in the last patch, and because of it, it is now common to max it second rather than E. This is due to the movement speed scaling that it provides, along with a 4-second cooldown reduction as you upgrade it. The faster you can approach and chase down targets, the sooner you can flip them over your head, or negate their own retreats due to the inferior method of running on two legs. It does a fair amount of damage upon contact with a target that doesn't scale at all, but it does go nicely with the base damage for a tank. Seeing as you increase your speed as you move towards a visible enemy champion, Volibear has the ability to run around potential CC if it's slow enough and use the full array of his kit to punish isolated carries. It does not have to be used solely in this manner, it can simply be used to escape a situation or get to a situation in order to save teammates. It acts as an auto attack reset and is best used in combination with flash for that surprise flash flip, and you can also use it to save your Yasuo from a gank and put the enemy up there for the slam dunk. This transitions us nicely to the W, which basically gives Volibear bonus attack speed as he stacks the ability, which is gained by auto-attacking an enemy target and will stack up to 3 times. This means at level 1 of the ability, especially if you start with it when you're clearing your camps, you can get up to 12% bonus attack speed, that's 4% per each stack. The reason this ability is maxed is to do with the fact that fully maxed you gain 20% bonus attack speed per stack, and this activates the active part of this ability, the bite. Volley will bite a target for a minimum amount of damage that also scales with his bonus HP and a percentage of the target's missing HP that scales with how much HP they are missing. Let's clarify that. For example, if they are missing 50% of the HP, then the increased damage on the bite will be 50% of their missing HP. What this essentially means is that it can be an execute if timed correctly. This is why building HP on Volibear is crucial, as it helps in his passive as well as the W bite. The cooldown is lowered from 18 seconds to 9 seconds when used on monsters and minions, so this along with the scaling damage and attack speed stored is why it's crucial to max this ability. Moving on to the E, historically this is what you would max second on Volibear to assist in clearing the jungle due to the fact that it fears monsters and also applies as slow to enemy champions. And it still does, but also, and this is the biggest change in Volibear's kit, was adding the knock-up. Having that secondary more reliable CC to his kit has completely revolutionized how we play Volibear at the moment. When you use this in conjunction with his Q or any target that is airborne or dashing, it'll do bonus damage, which actually scales with AP, but the knockup means you can use it in combination with flash to save a teammate, to lay a CC in an extended fight, or simply to disengage a fight after it turns bad. Yes, the slow after the knockup scales from 30 to 50%, but along with its flat cooldown means you can easily get away with maxing this last. However, you do lose a lot of spell damage from not maxing E, and it is very common to save E to stack CC with Q during skirmishes and fights, rather than use it in combination with each other for the damage. So you will have to decide between Q uptime and utility and engage, or that E spell damage and increased slow. Finally, the Volibear ultimate Thunder Claws. This lights up the world and burns nearby enemies with the anger of a bear who lost his honey. This can be used in a 1v1 fight for added damage, but it's best used when enemies are close together and the chain effect can deal its maximum amount of damage up to 8 enemies, The ult stays active for 12 seconds after the initial chain damage, so you can use it to push mini waves or chase down targets who have not yet been affected. I'm not going to speak too much more about this ability as it's quite simple in nature. It just gives you a bit of added damage to your kit, but there really isn't any super insane damage unless you're building AP, and the AP scaling isn't that great. But if you do happen to want to troll and build AP Volibear, then be my guest and you'll get some more ult damage. Right, let's quickly discuss runes and items before we jump into the gameplay. And to no surprise, we use runes that are standard for a tank, even with the aftershock nerfs. It's super easy to trigger the effect with Volibear and synergizes very nice with the E and the Q at the moment. For the bottom row of inspiration, all three are solid options, but Overgrowth and Revitalize are most common with equal rates of success. Overgrowth adds HP to Volley as the game goes on, which, as you saw earlier, is crucial to his kit, whereas Revitalize increases the amount of heal Volibear receives from his passive. Certainly if you have a Soraka, Kayle, or someone who can heal on your team, then Revitalize can definitely be a stronger option. For the secondary tree, the runes with the most success and bear synergy are Triumph and Alacrity, but if you prefer to have added damage to your W execute, then you know which option to pick. The most important aspect of taking Precision second is the added 9% attack speed, which is crucial for his slower early clear and in order to help him stack his W even quicker. Regarding items, Volibear loves items with HP and any that can give him some form of bonus movement speed, which is why Volley also loves Cloud and Ocean Drakes. HP regen and movement speed? Tasty. You'll see some clips where I don't bother going what's considered core on him, and that's Righteous Glory. I would 100% recommend this for the same reason some Volibear players like to go Predator, and that's running super fast at someone's face is quite disconcerting, can throw them off, and it makes it easier for them to miss any skill shots that can stop Volley's advances. If you're going Aftershock, which I recommend is by far the best and safest option for most MMRs, Righteous Glory enables Volibear to make those teamfight engages and inting teammate saves. You can use this speed up to protect the carries by arriving in time, or flip the enemies into your team for maximum troll. As a side note, the reason I didn't go Righteous Glory in the gameplay example is because of some testing, but also I had a Karma on my team. When you have a Karma or a Zillion or someone who can speed you up as Volibear, you can actually focus secondary items sooner, which have a bit more HP and resistance, such as Deadman Plates, which also gives that movement speed passive that we love so much. Giving Volibear's onus on healing and HP, Spirit Visage is definitely core along with Deadman's after Righteous Glory and Cinderhulk. Feel free to throw in a Warmugs in there simply to increase your buy power and regen power while in the field, or if more resistances are needed, you can buy Randuin's Omen or Adaptive Helm. Now, if you're the type of bear to want a more fighter type approach to the game, Titanic Hydra or Sterix Gauge are your best options instead of Righteous Glory. Titanic will give you faster farming, more AoE teamfight presence and slap power, while Sterix adds to your survivability with its strong low HP shield, which combines with your passive, bonus tenacity, which Volibear loves, while also giving him some more damage. Let's now move on to the gameplay example and pull everything together and show how you can absolutely dominate the early to mid game with Volibear, which is where his strengths are. The way to play Volley in the early game is not to AFK farm or rush level 6. You're too slow at that. You need to farm champions instead. Use all pathing possible, ward, and keep track of enemy summoner spells being burned. Let's look at this early game example first. I simply go for a behind the bank gank on mid lane while considering where the enemy Evelynn might be. And of course, as a main her, I'm quite aware of her clear speed and what things her kit can do. I happen to see her doing her Raptors. I engage hard with Flash, which is something really powerful in Volibear's early game. She can't react and I pick up an easy first blood. If you're against a jungler who has the potential to have a lower HP first clear, perhaps likes to farm more to get level 6 faster and lacks mobility or CC in the early game, then you have the upper hand at level 3. Be sure to exploit it. Orianna rotates foolishly to help and Anivia cuts her off and I collect the double. Now a lot of people might pat themselves on the back, go farm Grump, go back and spend their riches. Don't. Look to see where else you can make an impact during this time that Evelynn is off the field. I show top, Jax forces Nasus flash, I loop around and come right back. I now know he has no flash and so it's a simple gank to execute successfully. I use this time to take my Grump and move again to intercept Nasus after he returns to the top lane. A lot of people have commented during moments like this in previous videos that it's dirty or just too much. Well, not every game will present these opportunities to you and, well, do you want to win or not? This is part of jungling. We dive him and pick up another one. From here, Jax should be okay and the lane should be over. This isn't the case later in the game, but for now, he is stable and has good mental. I go back and buy Cinderhulk in one swoop, but as you saw from the item section of this video, Blue Smite, Hunter's Potion, Boots, and a pink are your ideal first back. If you have extra gold like I do here, Balmy Cinder thrown in is probably a good idea. But I wanted to exercise my item lead to the fullest, as a max HP would be nice for my ganks. I do my Raptors and thwart a gank in the mid lane while burning Orianna's flash, and we'll be sure to come back and exploit that shortly. It's important when you see the enemy jungler moving for a gank or your laner potentially in a bad situation, simply showing up can deter any further action on their part and save your laner. This is made possible by smart river warding. And, to continue that thought, after I try a failed gank bot lane, I see Evelyn moving up to try and steal my second red, or maybe set a trap for me. This is a brazen move and probably ill-advised. I ping Anivia over and we punish her for it. Now what? Well, we know flashes are down, we have a huge lead, let's use it. After clearing the buff and moving around the top side of the river where I know Orianna has no vision, I simply use our chain CC and let Anivia get some gold of her own. Orianna seems to have resigned herself to her fate as well. She can't flash, there's nothing to do, she might as well accept it. Now at this point, it's very important as Volibear that you stay active on the map, almost hyperactive. Ward, counter gank, and apply pressure in taking objectives. You are the tank, and so having you nearby is vital. You have Q to move around quickly as well. Using a good control place my bot lane, we're able to do just that, and even though Jax has died, I turned it into a 1-for-1 for us. This might seem simple, but this sequence repeats itself in a much bigger teamfight shortly after. We are dominating the start of the mid game and getting towers at a much faster rate. Jax had soloed the Rift Herald and used it on the mid lane while I applied pressure elsewhere. It's at this point, in an ideal world, you want to break the game open. If you're this fed as Volley, the team has to almost treat you like an assassin on their carries. They have to peel you. You can easily separate teams by having a smart engage here and there. A few moments after the previous fight, we repeat the process by trapping Evelyn with the same pink ward, and even though it's an uneven fight, I use the flash W auto combo on taking out the Nautilus. You can get 3 stacks on your W and flash in for the final jump if you need, so be aware of that. After we win this fight, you'd normally think this would be GG, but someone will always be caught out somewhere, and you have to make the best of that situation. Being a fed Volibear really does help. In my case, it means sacrificing myself while I smite right on point to steal a vital fire drake from the enemy. Their team is slowly getting much stronger, we're not really taking anything anymore, and they're getting back into the game. Given their team combat, it will be quite hard to fight them later on in the game, so it's really actually quite good I got the steal. Let's fast forward a little bit more. I know it's a bit disjointed, but I just want to focus on the crucial aspects of this particular gameplay. We got fed early game, our mid game sucked, and basically, through bad positioning, I want to show you how you can end a game even if you've thrown a lead or if it seems like you're behind. Now, during all this kerfuffle where it seems like we're losing out on the game, we do manage to sneak a Baron because of good warding. We make a pick on the enemy Nautilus, and we grabbed another Mountain Drake. Sadly, Anivia gets caught. I sacrifice myself for my carries, and poof, 15 minutes later we're defending our base in a potential final push for the enemy. However, the best thing about solo queue is people never know how to group properly, and it's on you to exploit that. We know that they are trying a 0-4-1 split push, but with Evelyn remaining hidden from us, so it's hard to push out, and I need to be very careful of protecting my carries against any engage by Evelyn and Orianna. This is where the power of Volibear shines. As soon as I see Nasus show bot again, and Evelyn show top, for some reason she's trying to split push, I get ready to hide engage. With Nautilus and Ezreal moving to the top side away from Orianna due to Anivia's excellent zoning, I do not hesitate. Karma speeds me up, I Q, flash, E, flip, dead. We had a 4v5 and we just made it a 4v4. I then take advantage of the enemy's complete confusion and flip the Nautilus. We chain CC him and now he's down. 4v3. Evelyn is still pushing the top side and we have the advantage and long death timers. I chase her down, use blue smite to deactivate her Banshee's Veil, continually chain CCing her while Karma speeds me up and helps. And finally, I use my chump to get as much damage on her as I can, even though it might not kill her, but it is enough for Varus to finish her off. 4v2. We finally chase down the Ezreal, take him out, and quickly return to stop Nasus's ridiculous split push on the bottom side. Once we put the dog back in the kennel, it's a 5 vs 0 hard push to the end. It was a very quick set of decisions and action that let us close out a game that we were starting to lose. If you're fed as Volibear, you're quite far ahead in your items, or maybe you're full build, you have that Karma Resilient or just at least Righteous Glory, that split-second decision making will win you games. Even if it's a straight 5v5 as you see in this older example from Season 7, use your Q to isolate, flash, and CC a squishy fed member and you can win the follow-up fight. Alright, I hope this video taught you a few things about Volibear and how to use his combos in different ways, along with how to be hyperactive around the map at all times, as well as decisive in any engages that you might make. Please share, like, and comment if you enjoyed this video and learned something. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more videos coming soon, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.